Hey everyone, I'm Sarah, and tonight we are doing a drawing class. Um, I have voice. If you see up in the top right hand side of the screen, you see a little icon with my avatar, and it says Face Sarah. That is me on Stream Chat, and if you would like to join me on Stream Chat, you are welcome to do so. If you look down here in the bottom left hand corner, there is an address to my Discord. You can also find that if you go scroll down and click on my name. It will bring up tabs, and you can select. I believe it's about. If you select about, there's a button there for Discord. Okay, so you're welcome to join me, and you will be live as part of the chat. I do recommend that if you decide to do that, that you mute your Twitch because you'll be able to hear me through Discord. Okay, just want to show you a couple of things, some housekeeping. First, we're going to go through the supplies. So all you really need is a number 2 pencil and a piece of paper. So I've got a sketch pad here, but you could really use drawing, any kind of paper, computer paper, doesn't matter. Okay. So you can use a number 2 pencil, that's no problem. But I actually use this drawing set called Gioconda. And the main reason is because if I use this with the lighting that I've got here, you won't be able to see it. So I'm going to be using a 2B pencil for this. And if you have a pencil set, I actually recommend that you use a 2B pencil for most of your sketches. And Victor, I see that you are online. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm fine. How about
Hey.
you?
Pretty good, pretty good. We are going to be doing a landscape tonight.
Yep.
Little houses on the hill. So that's another thing I wanted to point out to everyone, is that if you go to my Discord, you can find the reference photo for what we're going to be drawing. I highly recommend that you use references when you draw because when we do things from our mind, we tend to be very inaccurate. We do not have great memories. Humans in general don't have good memories. So I recommend that you look at something and do a study of it and just over and over again, look at it from different angles, and you will get to know it to where then you can draw it without having to look because it's not going to be your memory. It's going to be like kind of it is memory, like a muscle memory, like you're remembering. It's a skill at that point. I'm going to bring up the Discord. So if you go to this link here, this is what you will see. So we've got all these channels over here. You'll notice there's a mature art channel. If you want to be a part of that, you have to be 18, and all you have to do is just send me a direct message that requesting to go into that, and you can. And it is mature art, which means it can be literally anything. There are no holds barred there, so be aware of that if you sign up for that. Here you see that Victor and I are in stream chat. So this is what you would click on if you want to join our chat. And it will automatically, as soon as you click on it, it will bring you into the voice. So keep that in mind. All right, so notice that I'm clicked here on reference photos. This is today's reference photo. I try to put up the new reference photo for every time that we do a drawing or a painting. So this is what we're going to be drawing today. And you see we've got these little houses on the hill and the mountains in the background, and ta-da, that's what we're drawing. So you can actually make this even larger than this. So like if you, down here it says open original, you can open that and it will open it in your browser. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start out with my 2B pencil. And by the way, I mentioned this to Victor in chat because, by the way, if you join my Discord server, you're always welcome to ask art questions, post your artwork, just generally chat about like different ideas you have is great. Victor had asked about the pencils. He got a pencil set, and in his set he had 2B, 4B, 6B, 7B, and 8B, I think, right? And then you had an HB. So
Yeah.
HB is the same as number 2. If you look right here, see how that's got that little HB there? So HB is the same as a number 2 pencil. It's smack in the middle between the H scale and the B scale. B means bold, H means hard. H pencils are usually used for illustration or for drafting because they tend to be a little shinier and you get more precise lines. And you can actually draw very, very lightly with those, whereas your B pencils or your bold go very dark, and the higher the number you go, the darker they go, and they tend to smear a little bit too, so you can get nice shading and everything with your B pencils. So the higher the number, the darker it goes. That's the rule. All right, so we're going to start with a point right about the middle of your paper. So right about there. And we're going to do a hill starting maybe about 2 inches. I apologize. I am using imperial because I still haven't learned to visualize metric yet. So just bear with me. But about 2 inches. I think that's about 5 centimeters, maybe. I don't know. It may be a bad guess. And I'm just drawing a line and ending maybe about 1.5 inches up. So this is going to be our foreground hill. Now, if you have a set that has a graphite stick, so like if you have a 2B stick, so this one actually has one, that's nice for shading in areas like that. But I want you guys to be able to see what you can do with a number 2 pencil. So I'm going to shade this in just using my pencil. So I am going to try to keep my lines horizontal. In this particular case, if you are going vertical, try to keep your lines vertical and basically don't change direction because that will be very noticeable even once you blend. But what we're going to do is we're just going to generally lightly fill this in. And then we're going to use either our blending stump, which I've got right here. This is a little blending stick. Or you can use your finger and you can kind of smear everything together and it's going to blend it and make it look a little smoother. Now, I'm not going very heavy. I'm holding my pencil at about a 30-degree angle. And I'm barely pressing. And if you want to practice, I always recommend practicing on the back of your hand, different pressures. So if you press down, then you know how that's supposed to feel, very, very lightly, and try to go as light as you possibly can and see how that feels pressure-wise. And that will give you an idea of the kind of pressure to use when you're drawing. Now, if you don't have a blending stump, like I said, you can use your finger, which is what I always did in art school, so there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I don't think I ever used a blending stump when I was in art school. But you can also use a balled up piece of paper, especially newsprint if you have it. All right. So if you are using your finger, you just come in here with your finger and try to get as close to these lines as possible. Now, when you are doing this, you don't have to stay in the same direction. I'm going to use my blending stump because I have one, but I'm going to probably use the long end. We don't want to go too dark here because we're going to actually be erasing out in some areas when it comes time to doing different things like our little houses and stuff like that. I may have to move my water. You guys can't see it, but I've got a water bottle right here. And I have a feeling it's going to be getting in my way. I usually keep it over here, but I wanted it close because I haven't been drinking enough water lately. And as you may know, water is very, very, very good for you. Probably one of the #1 things that you can change about your habits to make yourself healthier is to add lots of water to your regimen. fact, now that I'm saying water, it makes me want some. All right, so see how that's nice and blended? When you blend it, it also makes it easier to erase out of. Like you get cleaner lines. So, okay. The next thing we're going to do, I'm going to grab my 2B pencil again. I'm going to do some little mountains in the back. And I'm just going to very lightly, I'm just kind of jagged back and forth lines. Just come in. I'm going to put like a little peak here. And then I'm going to do another one next to it. There. And I'm just shading that just at the top. We're going to blend the rest of that in later, but we're going to do some interesting stuff with that to make it look more textured.
Sarah?
Yes.
There seems to be a problem on Twitch. I can access the video. Or it's just me.
Well, I don't know because I think you might be the only one on right now, but try pushing pause and then play again and see if that helps because it
Actually, it's not showing off in the video. It says it has a problem. Maybe it's just me.
Hang on. Let me check. Everyone, I'm going to put my BRB screen on, and I'm going to...
Okay.
Okay, we are back, and Victor is working on getting his video set up, and so something's going on with it, I think. I apologize. Hopefully you can't. I've got dogs next door that are barking. I can hear them going crazy. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm going to use my finger and just spread this around up here.
Keep going on. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right, but I'm not doing anything too fancy yet because we're going to do that in a little bit. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to use my kneaded eraser, but if you have an eraser on the back of this, sometimes what I'll do is I'll take these erasers, or if you get the kind that slide on over, you can get a point on those, but sometimes I'll cut these so that they make a nice point. But if you have a kneaded eraser, this is really fancy. You can mold it into a point. And we're going to just put like a little winding path starting right about here and kind of in the middle of our range here. And I'm just going to let it kind of wind around. Now it does get a little bigger as it comes closer to us from perspective. Any luck, Victor?
I think it's just my cell phone.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Now I'm going to take my spreader. If you have your finger, this might be too fine of a point to get, but I'm going to take my, so you could use like a balled up piece of paper with like, you know, where you form a point on it. I'm just going to come in and very lightly come around the edge of my road. And that's just, and I'm just going out into the field a little bit so that it blends a little bit more, so you don't have like this very dark line right up against it, but I just wanted to clean that up. Since you're a racer, it's hard to get precision with that. All right, so what I did, Victor, while you were gone, I know you can't see right now, but well, I guess you may not have a mountain even because you can't see what I'm drawing. I drew, starting from the left-hand side, about 2 inches down from the top of the page. I drew a hill that, well, what do you want to do? Do you want me to describe it, or do you want to just wait until you can see?
No, keep going. I'll see if I can fix it and
Okay.
catch it up with you.
I will say this is one thing, you know how they always, well, you know, there's like that thought exercise of, you know, would you rather lose your eyesight or would you rather lose your hearing? And I will say, as an artist, I'm pretty sure I'd answer hearing. That would be really rough to not be able to see. Okay. A little piece of eraser got stuck here and it got worked into my picture, so it's there now. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually get our 2B pencil and we're going to block out some of our house shapes on the hill. So I'm going to put one right here.
Oops.
So I'm just putting 2 perpendicular lines. Parallel. I don't know why I said perpendicular. 2 parallel lines, excuse me. And we're just going to make a little rectangle. And this is all we're doing right now, is making our rectangles. We're going to do another little one over here. This one's going to be a little bit smaller because it's farther away. Now this one, let's see, we'll do one up here. This one's going to actually be kind of facing us. So it's going to be a little taller and more narrow. And we'll do the side here in a little bit. We'll do another one back here. I'm not sure why in the reference photo these are all facing random directions, because I feel like in a real scenario they would be probably near the road. But, you know. So this one's a little narrower because even though it's approximately the same size as this, it's going to be smaller because it's farther away. So it looks smaller. And I'm going to do one that is more long. Here. So we've got our rectangles. Now we're going to add our sides to our rectangle. So for this first one, we're going to put a line slightly higher than this line because it's going to go at an angle. Same with this. You know what? I missed a house. We're going to do a little house that's over this hill. So we won't be able to see the whole thing. There. All right, so this one is going to be going back to the left. So we're going to do a little line over here and then angle back to the left. Like that. Same with this. And same with this one here. And all it is it's a change up of where we are in the picture. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys how to get our roof. So I'm going to actually start with this one right here because we're facing it. So you draw, like, take about the center of this top line that goes across the top of the rectangle. You go from the center and just draw a little line straight up. From that, you're going to actually draw your, like a triangle that goes down to either side. Then you take this line here and you're going to draw a line that is parallel to it. So it's going to go up at the exact same angle. So this one goes up to the top left. This one goes up to the top left, just like that. And then you're going to draw a line parallel to this. Like that.
Sorry about the noises.
Oh, no problem. All right, so we'll do
That's
this.
the problem living near highway.
Oh, yes. Well, I didn't hear that. I just heard dogs. That could be outside my house. Because I've got dogs next door. And I live in the country. All right, so I'm going to do the triangle for this one. And again, I'm taking this line here and doing a parallel line. All right, now these are going to be a little trickier because our face is here. So you're going to find the middle and you're going to go up. Now your triangle is going to look funny, right? Your triangle is going to be at this angle. Now our rooftop, because it's parallel, is going to it's still going to be parallel, but now it's just going to look like a straight bar across because that's the face that we did. We did the side face. It will end a little bit earlier, so it's not going to come all the way to the end, and then we'll draw our triangle down that way. So let's do that again with this one. There's a little triangle, or little line. We do our parallel line. Now this one's going to cross in front of the road a little bit. All right, this one, I'm going to do the front face is going to be this here. And then this one here is going to be to the side because we did the longer house. So how was your week, Victor? You may be muted. Okay.
Well, it's not working on the website, so I'm going to deactivate the audio on Discord
Okay.
and use the app.
Okay,
So it
sounds
might
good.
have some delay. Okay?
Okay, sounds good. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put some trees in the background. So we're just going to leave our houses alone for right now. We're going to put some trees in the background. Now, if you have 6B, I recommend using a 6B because it's going to make it a little bit darker. If you don't, then that's fine. We're going to stick with our number 2 pencil. So I'm just going to put some lines in the back. And they're not all going to be the same height. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to, these are good, our trees are going to be wider at the bottom than they are at the top. So they're going to have like kind of a Christmas tree look. So the way I do this is I do, let's see if I can, I do kind of like these V's, like a V, and then I squiggle along the V. And just kind of have little squiggles that come out from that. So this is our main branch. And then we've got little squiggles that come out from that. Okay, now I'm going to hold this up so you can see. So I do a V, like that. And in fact, these can come out even wider. I can make my V's a little wider. So I'm going to squiggle. So I'm just going to, like that. Hold that even closer so you can see. So all I'm doing is little zigzags along the line. And then I do other like little branches just similar to that are just coming out from it. So V. And you can go ahead and get your V's going all the way up to the top. So just to show you what I'm doing. And I'm going to do the same on these other ones. So you've got a big V, and your V gradually gets smaller. So see, I started with my big V, very wide, very shallow, and then gradually gets smaller. All right, so now I'm going to continue with my squiggles. And if you want, you can go ahead and squiggle all the way up and then come back and do your other little branches. It'll kind of help you figure out where the little branches need to go. And then at the very top, I just squiggle that straight up. And this mimics the look of like fir trees or spruce, evergreens, you know, those guys, the evergreens. So right now I'm just going ahead and doing my squiggles first so that you guys can see what that looks like. And then I'll go in and start adding more at the base. Adding more branches, and then you can see what that looks like. And it just gets smaller and smaller until it gets to the top. Okay, so this is what I've got first. So see, I just squiggled, kind of like lightning that's just really close together. Just squiggled, zigzag, heartbeats, whatever you want to call it. Now, I'm going to come and just do random squiggles that kind of come out. And I'm not paying any attention to whether they're even or anything like that. I mean, I'm not really doing a whole lot with them. Just generally. Just different squiggles coming from different places. All it's doing is kind of filling it in. I'm going to hold that up so you can see. So see, all it's doing is filling it in. You can still see my original squiggles there. But it fills it in, and it gives it that nice evergreen look. And by doing it this way, you can still see the trunk as well. All right. Now, if you want to emphasize anything, you can do a couple like darker lines in here. I do not feel the need to do that, but I just want to show you on one of these what that would look like. So all I'm doing is I'm doing like a little extra dark squiggle, kind of going up and like at an angle. I'll show you. All that does is just give it some definition in places. So see, I just did a darker squiggle like in different places. I'm not going to do that for the others because I don't think it's necessary, but you can if you want. Again, if you're using your 6B pencil, you can get much darker in there. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to do little trees all along the hillside. So I'm doing all different sizes. They're all spread apart differently. Some are close together. Some are farther apart. Now we're going to do something a little bit differently for these because they're in the background. I'm going to do one here. We're going to do a couple coming over the top of this house. And I'm going to kind of stop there. We'll let this be empty because what I'm going to do is I'll probably put a couple of trees here in the foreground. And you know what? We might as well. I'm going to put a couple of trees right here. Notice that this one's at a slight angle. That was intentional. You don't have to do that, but all right. So there are a couple trees here and a couple trees here. I say a couple, I put 3. All right, now for these trees, what we're going to do is starting at the top, we're going to do our squiggles, but we're going to squiggle down. So we're going to start and just get bigger. So this is how you would imagine drawing a Christmas tree probably when you were little. You start and just get bigger, and I'm just kind of zigzagging across like that. We're going to blend these so we'll end up not looking too bad. So you just go through and do all of these. Some of them will be skinnier than others. Some of them will be more spread apart than others, like, you know, where you won't, they won't all be connected. Some of them will be behind others. We're just being kind of casual about it, not trying too hard. I always think when I'm drawing, I try to channel Bob Ross. I don't know if you know Bob Ross, but he's a super chill dude. He's a super chill, not alive dude anymore, but he does still have a channel where they stream on Twitch. They stream him live. They'll have marathons, and they'll stream like his, it's not really live, it's his, like videos, you know. But he's very chill, and it makes it very easy to do chill art. So I like watching him. I don't even really follow his work. I mean, like, as far as I'm not painting along with him, I just like to watch. It's relaxing. Now I notice that I'm starting to get a little bit of pencil on the back of my hand. Something you can do, let's see what I've got here. I've got paper towels for my painting classes. So I'm just going to put a paper towel here. You can also take another piece of paper and do that, and just set it under your hand, and that will make it so that you don't smear everything. All right. Almost done. Just have a few more to do. All right. Now, the ones in the foreground, we're going to do the same way we did these. So we'll do our V's, where our V's get closer together as we go up. Yeah. I'm going to do the same for these. I'm just going to go ahead and draw my V's on there. Might as well. All right, so then we'll do our squiggles. Same as before, squiggle going all the way up. Like I said, you can do it methodically like I do, where I just kind of do all of the V's and then I go back in and add the stuff later. Or you can do it all at one time. It doesn't matter. Whatever is most comfortable for you. Victor, did you ever get the video working? Okay. So now I can go ahead and...
Yeah, I'm watching now.
Oh, excellent.
I had to download the app to be able to watch it.
Yeah. That's how they get you. They make you download the app. So now I'm just doing little squiggles kind of in between. And maybe I don't want this to look so uniform. So I'm coming and just, you know, letting my squiggles kind of go outside my lines a little bit. Like I said, if you have a 6B, I recommend using that here. You can get like much nicer trees. Or you can go in with your 6B later. I'll just show you what that looks like. And you'll see the difference. I'm doing the same amount of pressure that I was doing before with the 2B, with the 6B, and you can see like how much darker it is. So look how much darker that is. Same pressure. It's just bolder. So I might as well go ahead in here and add a little bit, otherwise it's going to look weird to have one really dark tree. All I'm doing is just kind of random squiggles with that. Okay, I'm going to go back to the 2B and finish the rest of my squiggles. So I finished those. So I'm just going to kind of randomize there. All right. Last ones. Speaking of random, I went to the mall today for something, and I ended up not getting that thing. But I happened to see my favorite clothing store. It's called New York and Company. They are closing. They're going out of business because of Corona. And it makes sense. I bet you a lot of clothing stores are going to actually go out of business because they don't have a way for people to work online, and like everything has to be touched. You know, all of their merchandise is touched. So I bet you a lot of them are going to be going out of business, and that's very sad, especially since I'm in the textile industry, you know, as a textile artist. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's sad. That store has been open for over 100 years. I mean, not that specific store in my mall, but
In Brazil, they are doing some online sellings.
yeah. And this store apparently is doing online sales, I guess, but it's not the same. I mean, it's their storefront, and I think they're going to continue keeping their online store open, but you know, they're known for their storefront. So yeah, it'll be tough. We'll see. Okay, so when we get all the trees, next we're going to start working on the houses. Now I'm going to, first I'm going to draw some windows. So in this first one, I'm going to actually draw, let's see. Actually, you know what? Before we draw windows, let's go ahead and erase out our stencil shape in the front. So I'm not trying to erase perfectly because this is going to be like our highlighted side, but it can still have like a little bit of the shady bits on it. It's no problem. Like I said before, if you use your blending stump, it's easier to erase out. Let's see. I'm only going to erase out on this side because the left side is going to be dark. Our light is going to be coming from over here. Okay. All right, I'm going to draw some windows very, very lightly because I don't want them to be too terribly dark. I'm going to put just a rectangle with a cross in the middle of it. I'll hold that up so you guys can see. Just a little rectangle with a cross in it. That's your window with the panes. Okay, then we're going to do 2 rectangles on either side going down. Doesn't matter if they're uniform or not. This is not, it doesn't have to be exact. It's not about being perfect. Now we are going to put some windows on the side, but here's the thing, they're going to be skinny. And they're, the tops and bottoms of them are going to go up at an angle. You don't have to worry about erasing out or anything. We're going to actually be shading around them to make them look like there's light on. Now we do need a door, a way to get into the house. So the door is going to be about the same height as the windows. Maybe I'm going to make my door a little fatter. Okay. Now back here, I am going to put some windows on the side. My door, I'm going to actually put to the left here. And then I'm going to put 3 windows across the top and 2 windows across the bottom. So let's go ahead and get those in there. 3 windows across the top. And again, I'm not making them very dark or anything. They will be lined up with each other. Hopefully, the builder knew what they were doing. I'll hold that up so you can see it. All right. This one, we're going to have a little door on the side. And then our a window down here and 2 windows up above. I'm also going to have a door in the front. I'm just following the reference photo. I'm going to put one big window there in the center. All right. This guy, we're just going to have a door here. And 2 windows. And then I'm going to put 2 little windows here on the side. Now notice I wasn't trying to put the panes in the ones on the side here, but I did here because they're facing us. And I still tried to put the panes in the ones even though they're facing away from us because this is going to be white on that side. So we'd be able to see more clearly. I'm going to put 3 little guys here. You can do 2 if you can't fit 3. Same deal. I'm going to try to get my panes in there. If you can't, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Do need to erase this out here. Because we're going to put a window up there. That's why. And we'll just mimic a door there. Okay, so we got all our windows in there. Now we're going to shade. So I'm going to start with this house in the back. And I'm going to shade the roof area and then around each of the windows. All right, now here is where I'm going to emphasize the roof line, which is going to come off the side. All right. So here, same thing, we're going to shade the side. Now this one, I don't think I got the roof line very well. So maybe I'm going to fix that first. So all I'm doing is kind of inking the roof line now. And it's going to fold back underneath the house. Let me hold that up so you can see. See how like this here, this eave here, is going to actually go back towards the house. And then I'm shading in the side of the house. Okay. Now, I got a little exuberant with the shading, so I'm going to try to come in here with my eraser and pop out the windows a little bit, because I just got excited and shaded right over my windows. All right. We're not doing too much to the roof yet. This time, this roof here, I'm going to actually try to finish out. Excuse me. Sneeze. Thank you. Okay. All right. You can go ahead and shade in your doors. I didn't think about that, but you can. All right. All right. Now this guy here. Go ahead and shape our roof a little bit. And then we should be able to just shade around. I'm fixing where like I went a little bit too far on my roof. I'm just basically shading my house a little to the left there, and that fixes that. Now notice I'm not really going in any particular direction here. Excuse me, I'm going to need to get a tissue. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Okay. What I was saying was that you don't have to worry about direction here. You know, it's interesting. I'm noticing that I went a little too far to the left on all of these. So that's something to pay attention to next time I do this particular drawing, is, you know, how far over I go with my roof. That's something you want to do, like, as you go. Like, notice what you maybe kind of messed up on or whatever. That's how you get better. So I got excited again. Oh. This is very handy to have a kneaded eraser so that you can make those tiny little points. Okay. And then last house, this house in the back. All right. I don't know what happened here. This poor house in the back just got all beat up on the sides. Okay. Now let's add a little bit of detail to our roofs. So I'm going to start by just doing some kind of lines in the roof. This is like the flashing. Especially if you have like a tin roof. These I'm going to shade just a little bit since they're in the shadow. And we can spread that later. Let's see what else. I'm going to give this one a little bit of shadow there. Okay, let's see. I'm going to give these little chimneys. So all I'm doing is just a little rectangle from the top of the roof. Now this chimney here is closer to us, so we're going to actually be able to see several facets of it. So we'll have the dark side here, and then it's going to have like a little, another little side here. I'll hold this up so you can see it. That's lighter. The rest of these might be a little too far away to see that, so we're not going to worry about that. All of these would have chimneys because, of course, they're in the middle of nowhere. This one, you can't really see the chimney that well. He's so far in the back. All right, now I'm going to get my spreader. And I'm just going to spread in anything that's on the left side, because that is our, now my spreader's dirty, so that made it kind of nice that I can just shade in right there. No problem. This guy here, this part of the roof is facing the light, so I'm going to just erase out a little bit of this roof. And also, because this is technically tilted up, I'm going to just lightly use my eraser on top there on both of these. And that just gives the illusion that there is some reflection off of those. Okay. Now we need to add some shadows. So first of all, there's going to be shadows from our trees. So we're just going to come right around here and just do like some shady area. Remember, this side is the light is coming from here, so all of our shading is going to go to the left. So all I'm doing is just kind of generally shading there, just making it a little bit darker in that area. And we'll blend that. It just grounds those trees. Okay, we're going to do the same thing basically for our house. We're just going to just do some general shadow shape to the left. All right. Give me just a minute. I will be right back, okay? Okay, thank you very much for pausing. All right, so we're just doing general shadow.
Yeah, I'm still.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, cool. I'm back. Okay. So I'm just doing general shadow on the left side. The shadow is darker as it gets towards the front, like towards the house, and then it gets lighter. We're going to be using our spreader. So it's darker, and I'm just doing a general kind of circular shape a little bit. I'm not being real fancy about what my shadow looks like. When you're doing landscapes like this, I've found that it doesn't have to be exact. These are not house-shaped shadows because, you know, people aren't really looking that close. As long as there is a shadow there and it looks like the house isn't floating, it's going to look good. I know that sounds very unartsy of me, unscientifically artsy. And you know what? If I was teaching, this one's not going to have a shadow, by the way, because we can't see it. It's over the hill. But if I was teaching science drawing, like illustrative drawing for science, then I would teach you the correct shadows. And sometimes correctness is a thing, but in this particular case, it's not. Okay. You can use your hand or you can use your spreader and just spread it. Alright, so I'm just spreading, and like I said, you can use your fingers, no problem. Just spreading the shadow so that it kind of blends with the area around it. Now, we haven't done the mountain yet, so don't worry. We haven't forgotten about you, mountain. We're going to be doing texture in the mountains. I think I already did this over here, but I'm going to do it again. Okay. Now there's a couple of things that we need to add. We're going to add our detail in the mountains. So first thing we're going to do, you can either use your pencil if you have a dirty spreader. I recommend you use your dirty spreader. And you can basically we're just going to do lines in the mountains. But if you don't, you're going to take your pencil and we're going to do lines in the mountains. And don't worry, this is not how this is going to end up looking. Okay. So we get our lines going. And maybe your mountain curves down, you know, so you can do them at an angle. Then we're going to take our pencil and we're just going to lightly sketch horizontally over this. Just trust me on this one. And I'm not being too fancy about it, because I'm going to come in with my spreader or your finger, whichever, and up and down you're going to spread those horizontal lines that you just did. So we're spreading those up vertically, or really in the direction of how you did those vertical lines. So like here I kind of changed direction there. So all right, now I'm gonna go ahead and up at the top here, I'm gonna blend, and I'm gonna give it some jagged edges and just define it a little bit more. Now, again, I have a dirty spreader, so I can do that. If you don't, then you would need to use your pencil and just lightly add these areas. Okay. And I'm just coming in and blending the top. And I'm doing my blending straight up and down because that goes with those vertical lines that we did earlier. All right. I'm going to actually, again, whether you're using a finger or whatever, I'm going to just blend that even more. Okay. Now, let's add some fun stuff. Let's do like a little wall. So in the okay, I'm gonna do a bush here, like on the side of this house, and this is just my squiggly lines in a fan. That's all it is. Squiggly lines in a fan. Let's see. I'm gonna add a tree right here because there's one in the picture. This time I'm just gonna, I'm doing my V's, but I'm just like, instead of drawing the V's and then doing the squiggles or whatever, I'm just kind of making it up as I go. Okay. Let's do a little wall here. So coming from the side of this tree, I'm just gonna do tiny little circles, and I'll show you. I'm gonna hold this up so you can see it. Tiny little circles. All right, and now I'm going to have my wall angle up a little bit. So if you need to, you can draw like a really thin or really light line that gives you, you guys, that's so light you can't even see it, but see this little tiny line? And that gives you something, and then see I'm going to continue it back here. It gives you something to follow along if you need. I'm going to draw the little, all the little circles. Now, if we do this wall, we're going to have to give it a shadow. And when I get to the end here, I'm going to let it slope down instead of just ending abruptly. I'm going to let it look like it kind of angles down. All right, and I'm going to add some shadow all along the wall because, well, oh, I didn't finish the wall back here. Guess that's important, huh? It's a sleepy little village in the middle of the mountains. It's where I want to live one day. Excuse me. All right, let's have our wall continue over here. So same thing. This is a little closer to us, so the circles will be a little bigger. I am going to end it in the same way. I'm just going to go ahead and do my end there. Okay. And again, add a little bit of shadow. I'm going to get my blending stump here and just fill in that shadow. Okay. Now, what else do we want to do? Let's do, if you have a dirty blending stump, this is perfect for this. I'm going to show you. If you don't, then you'll have to very lightly use your pencil and then put your finger to it. But I'm going to actually do some little clouds. And see, this is so light you can barely see it. Look at that. In fact, I have to hold it at an angle just for you to see it with my lighting. My lighting's so bright. I'm still going to probably blend this with my finger. I'm telling you, your finger, because it's got oils and stuff on it, like does some really amazing stuff with blending that you just can't get with anything else. That's why, I mean, my whole first experience as an artist when I was learning how to draw was all using my finger as blending. This little thing is handy. I'm not going to lie. It's very handy. But especially if you have to get in little tiny corners and stuff like that. But there's just no substitute for using your finger. All right. Just get some clouds up here. Kind of. All right, now I'm gonna use my finger. Look at that. Like even using my blending stump, I didn't get nearly the interest that you can get with your finger. Now, on our mountain, it looks dark in the sky. You know, our what I use the blending stump for looks dark in the sky, but over the mountain it's gonna look light. So what we're going to do is use our eraser and right at the bottom of where that came across, we're going to just bring our eraser over the mountains. Our wispy mountains. Okay. Now in our picture we've got some little birds in the background. So all I do is like little M's. Hold that up so you can see it. It's almost like little lowercase m's. They're just kind of spread apart. And I have them all facing kind of different directions. Like that. My little birds in the background. And let's see if there's anything else. I might actually take my eraser and just come and dot along this like little brick wall. Just to... It was a little dark there. I accidentally erased some of my circles too much, so I'm just putting some of them back in. There we go. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our little hill of houses. Let's see. Victor, were you able to follow along? I know you had some video difficulty at the beginning.
No, I'm still at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Well, I am going to sign mine, and then I'm going to critique it. So, first, I'm going to go ahead and say that I love my trees. I feel like they're very effective. Drawing trees is something I've done a lot of practice on, where I just go out and I study trees. And I just look at them and look at the way they look and the way they're shaped and that kind of thing. And so that's why I can get away with doing squiggles, because I know generally how the squiggles are going to turn out. I can come in here, especially since I did this one with a little bit darker. If you want to just come in and do some darker, I can. Just to, especially on the left side where it's going to be a little bit more shadow. You can, fill that in and just give it more of a, where it looks darker on one side, some more shading. Or you can just leave it. I mean, the thing is it's supposed to look kind of haphazard, but all right. I'm going to stop messing with it. I probably could work on this area here and like getting my fog to look like a little bit more realistic. Maybe even lighten my mountains in the background, like they're a little dark. Honestly, though, it's pretty effective. I think I could have done a little bit more with the roofs. In fact, I still could. Like I could come in, especially since this is darker on this side. I could come in and just like darken up my roofs a little bit. You can always darken your shadow areas, like anything that's away from the light. Make that a little darker. Overall, though, I think it's pretty effective. I don't have a whole lot of criticism. Victor, do you have any that you'd like to add for my drawing? Let's just really quick, we're going to go back. I'm going to pull up the reference drawing again so you guys can see it. So here's the reference photo. And then we'll go back to mine. I don't know. I think I did all right. What do you think?
Maybe do some more shadow at the other mountain. Get the tip more dark, or I don't know, maybe.
Okay. Right now, hold on. I just saw like some areas. I'm taking my 6B pencil and just coming in and shading the one side that's in the shadow. I might as well do that over here since I already did it. I decided I want one side to be darker. I think it will look more interesting. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking my 6B pencil. And don't worry, Victor, I did hear your suggestion. I'm going to take a look at that.
That's fine. It's fine.
But see how I'm just on the left side, I'm adding a little bit of shading to my trees. And what that does is it gives it more depth. And this is not in the reference drawing, but I decided that I wanted it. I think it looks more interesting. There. Huh. Interest. Okay. Now for the mountains, you said to maybe make it a little darker.
Yeah, give some shape to it since it's look just plain behind. Some little rocks or some details.
All right. So let's do. You can always add shading, and I'm using my 6B right now. And I'm just kind of making a shape, a general mountainous shape. Now I'm going to have to come back in and put my clouds because I'm covering up my clouds right now. So let's do... all I'm doing is the left-hand side, kind of like I just did my trees, really. Is I'm just doing the left-hand side of things. And I'm giving it some shape. Hopefully this is what you meant. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to blend everything here. So what I'm doing is I'm giving it, making it look like it's got these craggy, like outcroppings. And since our light source is coming from this way, that's why I'm choosing to do everything on the left. This maybe comes down. So what we're doing is we're adding some visual interest to our mountain. Okay, I'm going to use my shader. We'll see how this looks. It may or may not look good. Hopefully it does, but you never know. So I'm just continuing this one out a little bit. And I'm blending with the mountain so it doesn't have such a stark contrast. And I just kind of made this up too, so who knows. I have seen a lot of mountains, but I haven't done too many studies of them, so hopefully this looks somewhat accurate. I don't know. I'm just drawing from memory, which I warned against at the very beginning. But these are definitely more interesting looking mountains now, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
The shapes looks okay.
Yeah.
Looks really cool.
These are some like Mordor mountains here now. These are like
Yeah.
like all right, I'm gonna shade down here. They're very ominous now. Man, the people in this village, they just went from having like a happy little home on the side of this beautiful mountain to now it's like looming over them. I feel like it's going to erupt at any time. Just a little shading And now we have this kind of scary mountain in the background. I like it. Okay, now I am going to go back and do my clouds again. Hold on. So I'm just dabbing at it. And I'll run my finger over it again. Maybe it makes it a little less doomsday if I have some nice misty clouds over it. I don't know. Or maybe it's worse. Okay, I'm gonna just run my finger over that. And that just kind of roughs it all up. Ooh, I like it. Yeah, Victor, good idea.
That looks good.
Yeah, that's much better. All right. See? That, just a little bit of shading, and it gave us some very interesting mountains. Very cool. All right. Well, I think this is successful. You said that you're still working on yours, so will you upload at some point for us to see?
Yeah, it will take more time
Yes, for
since
sure.
I lost some doing.
Well, and take your time. You know, I don't want any of you guys, when you're watching my videos, don't rush. If you're not following along, especially if you're watching my VOD, like, pause it, catch up. And like, if I'm moving too fast, you know, don't be afraid to pause me and wait. You know, I'm used to doing these classes live, and I did hear that car.
Was a bike.
Oh, it was a bike. Oh, well, there we go.
Motorcycle, sorry.
But I'm used to doing these classes live to where I'm watching my students, and so I'm going as fast as they are going. You know, so it's hard because I can't see you guys. So that's the one thing about doing these classes online that's a little bit of a challenge, is being able to, you know, allowing for you guys to keep up with me. So I look forward to seeing your finished piece on the server. Anyone else, you are welcome. Even if you did not follow with me today and you're watching this later, I absolutely encourage you to upload your artwork to ArtShare. I'm going to bring that up one more time just for you to see. So, oops, I'm still on there. So if you notice, it says Art Crit at the top. So if you click on that, this is where, so you can see where someone, this is Flux, who is normally on with us. He actually just did this really cool ant. And I actually asked him if he did that from his imagination. He probably did, because he actually does a lot from his imagination. But you can see this is Victor's artwork. Beautiful roses that you did twice, which I actually like both of them, but I really love this vignette that you did here where you rounded it out. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I did that because it would take too much. I don't have practice to do all the behind and the arc parts. So
yeah. I mean, that's good.
A simple one.
That's the thing. You get creative. Like, you know, I mean, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So you got creative and did this kind of egg shape here, which I really like. So, yeah. So you are welcome. Anybody is welcome to upload their artwork to the Discord. Again, that is right here. Or you can go to About on my Twitch page, and there's a Discord button. Okay. So I'm supposed to have a watercolor class tomorrow, but I have a feeling that I'm going to have to cancel that class because that was the reason I had to pause momentarily, as I was getting an important phone call, and I think I'm going to have an appointment tomorrow. So we're going to hold off on tomorrow's class. I know this is the second Saturday that I've canceled. But I will try to make these up, I promise, at some point, because I noticed I didn't change my numbering. I skipped art lesson 51, which was supposed to be last Saturday. Tomorrow was supposed to be a watercolor class. We were going to do watercolor balloons. I've actually done that class in the past, and it's the lesson plan is not very well written, but the class itself is pretty fun. I did not write that lesson plan, so don't count on tomorrow. It will probably not happen, and we will. I will try to, like I said, I will try to make it up. I promise. So, Victor, thank you so much.
Yep.
Do you have anything else to add?
The mountain looks better than the houses
Oh,
for
nice.
me.
Yeah, now the mountain looks better. Well, I could go in, especially with my 6B pencil, and I could really, like add some drama to these with the darker pencil. And I think that would probably help a lot. I'm going to go ahead and leave it the way it is. I think it's fine. I've done this particular drawing before, and this is actually better than my last one. I do like the mountain. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right. Well, have a fantastic weekend. Thank you, Victor, for joining me on voice chat. I appreciate that. And
Yeah, sorry for all the trouble.
Oh, no worries, no worries. I'm glad you got it figured out. I just appreciate you joining me. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing your artwork.
Yeah, I will post this week, so
Okay. Sounds good.